So this morning, I was pulling in my driveway, and I looked down, and I saw what I used to call as kids, as when I was a kid, I used to call them foxtails, because they're like a foxtail, but they're tears. And I'd never really put it together that a tear really looks almost exactly like a wheat. Looks like wheat. It doesn't hardly look any different. Um, so I was reminded of, Satan, wanted to sift Peter as wheat from the tare. Um, and Peter had said, I would die for you, Jesus. And even cut the Roman guard's ear off with his sword. And Jesus said to him, the cock will, or the rooster will crow after you've denied me 3 times. So, and it also reminded me of a dream I'd had. That was a few years ago. I was on a web or on a YouTube channel, going back and forth, and I don't remember what the topic of the post or the video was, but I do know that I was going back and forth about Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus Christ, versus Allah and Muhammad and Yahweh. And that night, I had a dream of standing on a bank of a river, after the resurrection. It was during the millennial reign, like right at the beginning of it, but still at the far enough in that I had already was established. My family and I were back together, and I was living in a house. I was standing on this river bank, and it was a shallow river. Green grass went right up to the edge of the river, and I had about 200 people, and they were all telling me, "Man, we are really hungry. We didn't know it was going to be like this." And I was like, "I didn't know either, you guys. I'm sorry." And they're like, "What are we going to do for food?" And I just literally said, "God, I sure could use your help right now." And I turned around and looked in the river, and there were droves of salmon going by in the river. And then next thing I know, they started complaining. The people did that were there with me, saying, "Great, now we have fish, but no fishing poles to catch them." And I said to them, I was like, "The water's only 2 feet deep." And I dove in, I grabbed 2 salmon, held them up by their tails, and said, "I'm going home to feed my family." And so I went home, and I had a mudroom, and I laid them on the floor in the mudroom. I grabbed a billy club, and there was one that was just flopping around violently, and one of them was just laying still, motionless. So I grabbed the one that was flopping violently, and I hit it over the head. And then the one that was just laying motionless, I was wondering if it's dead already, so I picked it up. And it started talking to me and said, "Please, please, just put me back in the river and leave me alone." And I could hear my family inside. Everybody was in there. And so, and then I woke up. And so then I prayed about that. And God had said to me, one was violently rejects, God, the Father and Creator in heaven. And the other one silently rejects God, the Father and Creator in heaven. And they're both lukewarm. They both know about God, but they still reject God, even though one does it violently and the other one does it quietly. They're the same to him. They're both lukewarm, and he would spew them out of his mouth. And so that's what the fish in the river represented versus the people standing on the bank of the river. And so what I had realized about that dream was that I, though arguing as a Christian with a Palestinian and an Israelite, they had teamed up against me and were both making fun of me for being Christian and believing in Jesus Christ and the salvation of Jesus Christ, which was odd because I'd got them to work together against me, even though it was against me, and you know, they were working together. And so today I just wanted to say that though I understand everybody tells us we have to pick a side, but why? Why do we have to pick a side? God is the God of all things. He's the Father and Creator in heaven of all things good from the beginning. We have the same God, and we have the same enemy, who is pitting brother against brother. He's using them to get to God. So the real prayer is to pray for everybody, right? To come to the salvation of Jesus Christ. All have fallen short of the glory of God. All need to seek salvation. So I believe that we should be praying for Islam and Israel, regardless of what political view we may have, because it doesn't always boil down to just politics, obviously. If they truly were brethren in God, they wouldn't fight with each other. I don't fight with my Christian brothers, here. So why do they fight? It doesn't make sense. All right, you guys. May God and Jesus Christ bless. Amen.